Hey there, food lovers. Ever wonder what happened to the incredible African-Canadian dishes from the 1970s? Those soulful flavors, those Sunday family dinners, the aromas that filled the kitchen? They're almost gone. But today we're bringing them back. Get ready for a delicious trip down memory lane as we count down 20 iconic African-Canadian recipes that we absolutely unequivocally want back. Let's get started. Let's kick off our countdown with number 1. 1. Plantain chips. Before the kale chip craze, there were these beauties. In the 1970s, making plantain chips was a weekend ritual. You'd start with firm, green, unripe plantains, which are starchy, not sweet. The key was to slice them as thinly as possible, often with a simple knife, before frying them in small batches. This was done in a heavy cast iron skillet, ensuring an even, golden brown color. A light sprinkle of salt right as they came out of the oil gave them that satisfying, salty, savory finish. They were a homemade snack, often served alongside a main meal or just enjoyed straight from a brown paper bag. This was a much more satisfying and flavorful alternative to any store-bought chip, with that unique, starchy, savory plantain flavor that became addictive. You can almost hear the satisfying crunch, can't you? 2. Caribbean rum cake. Oh, the aroma alone. This wasn't just a dessert, it was a statement. The process of making a Caribbean rum cake was an event in itself. Families would begin weeks, even months in advance, soaking dried fruits like raisins, currants, and prunes in generous amounts of dark rum. This created an intensely flavorful mixture. The batter was then made with molasses, spices like nutmeg and cinnamon, and often a touch of vanilla, resulting in a dense, rich cake. After baking, the cake was repeatedly fed with more rum syrup, making it incredibly moist and fragrant. Every bite was dense with flavor, a truly grown-up treat that perfectly capped off a festive meal. This dessert was a staple for special occasions, holidays, and any time a touch of elegance was needed. 3. Black-eyed peas. Stew, simple, soulful, and incredibly satisfying. This wasn't just for New Year's Day luck. In the 1970s, African-Canadian kitchens, black-eyed peas stew was a comforting, protein-rich dish. The peas were soaked overnight to soften, then slow-cooked with ingredients like smoked ham hocks, salted beef, or trotters, which imparted a deeply savory, smoky flavor. Tomatoes, onions, and bell peppers were added to create a rich, thick sauce, seasoned with a bay leaf or thyme. Served over rice or with a slice of cornbread, it was a filling and economical meal that warmed you from the inside out on a chilly Canadian evening. It was the kind of dish that tasted even better the next day, as the flavors had more time to meld together. 4. Meat pies. Not your average tourtière, these meat pies often carried a subtle warmth from spices like Scotch bonnet or allspice, depending on their Caribbean or West African roots. The preparation involved making a flaky, tender pastry from scratch, often a short crust or puff pastry. The filling was a mixture of seasoned ground beef, sometimes lamb or chicken, sautéed with onions, garlic, and a blend of spices. For the Caribbean version, a touch of hot pepper sauce would add a little kick. These individual flaky pastry pockets were perfect for a quick lunch, a school snack, or an appetizer at a gathering. They were the ultimate portable deliciousness, easy to hold and completely satisfying. 5. Ackee and saltfish. A true taste of Jamaica, making its way onto Canadian tables. This iconic breakfast or brunch dish required a specific preparation process. Salted codfish was first soaked overnight with multiple water changes to remove the excess salt. The dried ackee fruit was then rehydrated and boiled to a tender consistency. The two main ingredients were then combined in a sauté pan with a sofrito of onions, tomatoes, garlic, and often vibrant bell peppers. A key flavor component was a finely chopped Scotch bonnet pepper, which provided a signature heat without overpowering the delicate flavors. The result was a delicate balance of savory and slightly sweet, and once you tried it, you never forgot it. 6. Rice and beans. More than just a side, this was a foundation. Whether it was the Caribbean version of rice and peas made with kidney beans or pigeon peas and coconut milk, or a savory West African version, the process was a slow simmer. The beans were cooked until tender, often with a whole Scotch bonnet pepper, and a sprig of thyme to infuse the water with flavor. The rice was then added directly to this liquid, allowing it to absorb all the delicious seasonings as it cooked. The result was rice that wasn't just cooked, but fully flavored from the inside out. It was a canvas for so many other dishes, absorbing flavors beautifully. Number 7. Callaloo. This leafy green stew, popular in the Caribbean, was a powerhouse of flavor and nutrition. The main ingredient was the young leaves of the taro plant, also known as dasheen, or sometimes amaranth or spinach. The leaves were finely chopped and then simmered in a pot with a rich liquid base of coconut milk and often a savory stock. For added depth, salted meat, crab, or smoked fish were often included. The okra added early in the cooking process gave the stew its unique, slightly viscous and smooth texture. It was incredibly versatile, served as a side to a main meal or a light meal on its own, and always packed a comforting punch. Number 8. Jamaican patties. Before they were ubiquitous in every corner store, homemade Jamaican patties were a revelation. The key was in the two parts, a flaky, buttery pastry and a deeply flavorful filling. The pastry was often made with a touch of turmeric or curry powder, giving it that characteristic golden color and a savory flavor. The filling, typically seasoned ground beef, was cooked down with breadcrumbs to absorb the juices, ensuring a non-soggy pastry. The spices were a precise blend of hot peppers, thyme, and sometimes allspice. These crescent-shaped delights were an irresistible snack or light meal, with a spicy kick and a satisfyingly crumbly crust. Number 9. Coconut rice. Simple yet transformative. Cooking rice in coconut milk instead of water elevates it from a humble side to a fragrant, slightly sweet, and incredibly creamy delight. The process involves simmering the coconut milk with the rice, along with a pinch of salt, and sometimes a bay leaf or a piece of ginger, allowing the rice to slowly absorb the rich liquid. In the 70s, this was a common accompaniment to curries, stews, or grilled fish, adding a touch of tropical luxury to any meal. The subtle sweetness and rich aroma made it utterly addictive and a truly special dish. Number 10. Baked tilapia with spices. Freshwater fish like tilapia, readily available and often prepared with a burst of flavor. The fish was meticulously cleaned, scored, and then rubbed generously with a vibrant homemade spice blend. This rub often included finely grated ginger and garlic, paprika for color, chili powder for heat, and various other spices depending on the region, like cumin or coriander. It was then baked or grilled in an oven until the skin was wonderfully crispy and the flesh was moist and flaky. Served with a squeeze of fresh lime, it was a light yet incredibly flavorful meal, perfect for a family dinner. Now for our top 10. Number 11. Pepper soup. On a cold Canadian winter's day, there was nothing quite like a steaming bowl of pepper soup. This West African delicacy was a true winter warmer. The base of the soup was a highly aromatic broth made from various meats like goat, fish, or oxtail. The key was a precise blend of traditional spices, often sold as a pre-mixed powder, including ingredients like uziza seeds, ihuru, calabash nutmeg, and uyayak pods. These spices provided not just heat, but a deep, earthy, and complex flavor profile. The soup was often served with chunks of meat and tubers like yam or sweet potato, making it a hearty, soul-soothing meal known for its incredible to chase away the chills and the common cold. Number 12. Okra stew. Often misunderstood for its unique texture, okra stew or okra soup was a beloved and nourishing dish. The okra was often finely chopped or grated, and its natural mucilage created a unique, slightly viscous quality that was incredibly satisfying. This was cooked in a rich, flavorful broth, often made with palm oil with added ingredients like pieces of beef or smoked fish, and leafy greens like spinach. The stew was a testament to using fresh, simple ingredients and creating something truly delicious and comforting. It was often served with fufu or pounded yam, allowing the starchy accompaniment to perfectly soak up the stew. 13. Suya, spiced meat skewers. The smell of suya grilling is unforgettable. This popular Nigerian street food became a cherished treat for African Canadian gatherings and barbecues. The process started with thinly sliced strips of beef, which were then threaded onto skewers. The real magic, however, was in the spice blend known as yaji. This potent mixture of ground peanuts, chili powder, cayenne pepper, ginger, and other spices gave the meat a nutty, spicy, and deeply aromatic coating. The skewers were then grilled over an open flame, giving the meat a smoky char. The combination of the smoky char, the spicy kick, and the tender meat made it utterly irresistible. Often served with a side of sliced raw onions and tomatoes, it was pure, unadulterated joy. 14. Peanut stew. Velvety, rich, and utterly comforting, peanut stew, or groundnut soup, is a cornerstone of West African cuisine. It was a labor of love, starting with roasted peanuts that were ground into a smooth paste. This paste was then dissolved into a rich tomato and onion base, creating a thick, savory, and slightly sweet sauce. Various meats like chicken or lamb were added and simmered until they were incredibly tender. A hint of chili and other spices like ginger and garlic balanced the richness of the peanuts. The resulting stew was deeply satisfying and nourishing, the kind of meal that sticks to your ribs and warms the soul. The aroma of the simmering peanuts alone could make your mouth water for hours. 15. Egusi soup, a truly iconic West African soup. Egusi soup is made from ground melon seeds, which are the star of the show, providing a unique texture and nutty flavor. The preparation involved frying the melon seed paste with palm oil to release its flavor, then simmering it with a rich tomato and pepper base. Various meats or fish, along with the leafy greens like spinach or bitter leaf, were added to create a hearty and flavorful dish. This soup was often a centerpiece of a large family meal. It was a complex and delicious experience that embodied the heart of traditional cooking, meant to be scooped up with a starchy accompaniment. 16. Cassava fufu, the ultimate accompaniment. Fufu, a staple in many West African and Caribbean cuisines, was more than just a side. It was an integral part of the meal experience. In the 70s, making fufu was a manual and physical process. Tubers like cassava or pounded yam were boiled until soft, then placed in a large mortar and rhythmically pounded with a pestle until they formed a smooth, dense, and pliable dough. This dough was then shaped into a ball. It's designed for tearing off pieces with your hands and using them to scoop up delicious stews and soups like egusi or peanut stew. The act of eating fufu is tactile, communal, and deeply satisfying, as it's the perfect vehicle for soaking up every last drop of flavor. 17. Goat curry. Succulent, tender, and intensely flavorful, goat curry was a cherished dish, particularly for Caribbean Canadian families. The process involved first marinating the goat meat with a blend of aromatic spices, including a high-quality curry powder, turmeric, ginger, and garlic. The meat was then slowly browned and simmered for hours, allowing the spices to fully penetrate the meat and for it to become incredibly tender, almost falling off the bone. Potatoes were often added toward the end of the cooking process, absorbing the rich, spicy sauce. It was a labor of love that paid off with every delicious bite. The meat's unique flavor combined with the rich, complex sauce made it a showstopper at any gathering. 18. Puff puff. Oh, the simple joy of puff puff. These sweet, airy, deep-fried dough balls are West Africa's answer to the donut hole. The dough was a simple yeast-based mixture of flour, sugar, water, and sometimes a hint of nutmeg or vanilla. It was left to rise until light and bubbly. Small handfuls of the dough were then dropped directly into hot oil, where they would instantly puff up into perfectly round golden balls. They were lightly crisp on the outside and wonderfully fluffy on the inside. They were a perfect snack, a breakfast treat, or delightful dessert, often made on the fly and disappearing just as quickly. You could smell them frying from down the street. 20. Jollof rice. And our #1 most wanted recipe back from the 1970s is jollof rice. This iconic West African dish is more than just rice. It's a culinary legend. The foundation of jollof is a rich, flavorful tomato-based sauce. Onions, red bell peppers, and fresh tomatoes were blended into a smooth puree and then slowly cooked down with various spices like thyme, curry powder, and a hint of bay leaf. The rice was then added to this deeply aromatic sauce, allowing it to cook and absorb every bit of flavor. A crucial step was to steam the rice gently and let it parboil within the sauce. This process, known as bottom pot or party rice, was where the magic happened, as the bottom layer of rice would develop a wonderfully smoky, caramelized crust. This iconic dish was the star of the show at parties, potlucks, and family dinners. And there you have it. 20 incredible African-Canadian recipes from the 1970s that are rich in history, flavor, and a whole lot of love. These dishes aren't just food. They're stories, traditions, and a beautiful connection to a vibrant past. So, whether you remember these dishes from your own childhood, or you're discovering them for the first time, we hope this journey has sparked a craving, a memory, or simply a deep appreciation for the culinary heritage of African Canadians. Let's not let these flavors become mere memories. Let's bring them back, share them, and keep those wonderful traditions alive. Which of these dishes makes your mouth water the most? Have a recipe you remember from the 70s that we missed? Share it in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more nostalgic journeys, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure.